doing a little research, it was interesting to, and I had my suspicions about this, but I asked Marlene to do a little research, and I said, how many SEC teams have actually gone to Maui and won the tournament? Because I just don't remember a ton. And believe it or not, only two, Kentucky and Vanderbilt. Now Texas has won it, Missouri's won it, but they're not when they were part of the SEC. Might have been one other team too. But that tells you how hard it is to win. The ACC's won 11 times or something like that. Big Ten won 8 times. But we haven't had our teams have not had a ton of success up there. You know, kind of the way I look at it is we have a chance to play 3 great teams on a neutral site and really find out, you know, where we're at, but also potentially help our NCAA tournament resume if we can be, you know, if we can be competitive. Iowa State is, you know, a great defensive team. They have, you know, analytically, defensively as good as anybody. They force turnovers. They've got 2 of the best defensive guards, I think, in the country, and Keyshawn Gilbert and Taman Lipsey. Those guys are both. You know, there will be some that will say it's the best backcourt in the country, but I think they're the best defensive backcourt in the country for sure, and they lead their teams in scoring as well. But they turn you over one in 4 possessions, which is a lot. So obviously, being able to, you know, score against that defense, and then the second biggest thing I think would be transition. I've got absolutely elite transition finishers. So if they get numbers and they're going downhill, those guys score and get fouled at a very high clip. Those are going to be a couple of our greatest challenges. But we're excited about the opportunity. Long day of travel tomorrow. We're going to leave the building 5 a.m. and we don't get into Maui till sometime after dinner. I think like 8 o'clock or something like that. So.
You obviously want to win all 3, but outside of that, what is maybe a couple things that you'd like to see from them on the court, off the court, chemistry-wise? Just what do you want to take from this trip outside of obviously winning 3 games?
Well, I mean, I think that you know you know, our bracket, I think, with Iowa State and North Carolina, Dayton is a great bracket, and if you look at it like, you don't want to try to play the best teams in the country, we certainly, you know, have that opportunity. You could also look at it like 2 of the top 3 ranked teams in the country are playing in the first round. But that's Auburn basketball. That's how we're viewed. We've not done enough to give ourselves, put ourselves sort of in a position where we're going to be favored for anything, or it sort of reminds me a little bit about the road to the Final Four in 2019, and we looked at that as, man, somebody's got to beat Kansas or North Carolina or Kentucky along the way. You know, somebody's got to beat Iowa State or North Carolina, Dayton, or UConn, or, you know, somebody along the way. So that's just how we approach it. So I'm kind of looking at it as one game at a time. We got one game at a time, and you know, what would constitute a successful trip? Obviously, I'd love to play great basketball against the best teams in the country and see if you can win a couple.
Bruce, do you have a timeline for when you're expecting Jakai and Jaheim to be back to get minutes for you guys on court?
Yeah, they were dressed and available for the last game against North Alabama, and so they traveled with us and they're available.
Bruce, we just had JP in here, and he was talking about how, you know, he's still learning, still trying to get into the flow with his team. Just what have you thought of him his first 4 games here? Only 1 foul, hadn't committed a turnover yet. Just what he's brought to y'all.
Yeah, JP is super solid. You know, I think he's better than he thinks he is sometimes. I really do. I think he's a heck of a player, and I think if he can see it, he can shoot it, and I'd like to see him get a few more clean looks. He takes great care of the ball. He values possessions, which I think is where he's very unselfish, and I just think there's the way we guard is different. I think that would be one of the biggest differences for players that are coming in our program for the first year. It's not as big an adjustment offensively as it is just sort of the way we guard, the way we have to communicate, the way we do some switching and things like that. In the long run, it'll help these guys, because I'd like to think that's something I think we do really well.
Bruce, you mentioned the Iowa State's defense that you guys are going to play. What have you seen that you've liked offensively from your group early in the year, trying out some new lineups, got lots of new players? What have you seen that's made them so efficient on offense?
Well, I think we've shot it pretty well. I think we've been pretty good inside-out team. The high rate of assist turnover rates have been speaks to our unselfishness, and we could do a better job of getting the foul line and shoot. We got to continue to be a good free throw shooting team, and that's going to be an important thing for winning close games. We beat Houston, and one of the things that sort of gets I don't want to say overlooked. Look, Tahad made big shots, and we made made our last 6 free throws, and that's what you got to be able to do, obviously, to go along with everything else. But I think Mike Bergmaster's done a great job as our offensive coordinator, and I think I think we got good looks. We're gonna, Iowa State guards differently than anybody we played. They guard like Houston, but they still guard differently. So one of the things that we're going to work on in preparation today before we leave tomorrow is trying to simulate the way Iowa State will guard us.
You talked about the unselfishness. You've got a bunch of guys that appear very willing to give up a pretty good look, to go ahead and pass it up. We even noticed a couple of times you wondered why they haven't gone ahead and taken the shot.
Yeah, no, it's that's the chemistry, and that's the culture. That's the leadership. Our guys recognize that again, playing great basketball and playing the way to honor the game, the way you should honor the game is to take a good shot when you're open, but also be willing to come off of it. And I think our guys have demonstrated that so far this year.
Last question.
Bruce, obviously several years ago, different field, different team, but how much did Maui, that Final Four season, how much did Maui help y'all get ready for what y'all ended up doing the rest of the season, especially playing so many good teams in a short amount of time?
Yeah, because you have 3 games in 3 days, it's a little bit like an NCAA tournament weekend. We have 2 games in 3 days, right? We have 2 games in 3 days in the tournament. I think it more just as the quality of the opponent, again, that you're going to play. I think one thing that should serve us well is our depth. The fact that we're playing. The first few games we played 11. The last couple games we played 9. I think that helps you on the back-to-backs. I know our coaches will have great preparations, and so our depth should continue to help us.